The question on all of our minds, for you at home and me right here, is will Trump on Friday with the crypto summit create a pump, a dump, a pump and dump, a dump and pump, or will it send us to our bedrooms with our wives and girlfriends for a real pump and dump, the one that we all love? Anyways, we're going to talk about that. We're going to go into the charts, and I'm going to also give you guys your first update on where the bots are from last video. So let's get in and start right away. Okay, so let's jump right in the charts and look at Bitcoin. I'm also going to jump off and show you some things that I've been finding, some great chat on Twitter, as well as what to watch for, and some potential things that I'm noticing are kind of like keys to the VIP for people that are like, whether they're insiders or not, or just really picking up on the verbal cues that certain people in the Trump administration give. I'm going to show you what Eric Trump does and how you can potentially use that to your benefit. Now, Bitcoin, we saw those crazy 50x longs and shorts. Now, where are we going next? Here's the real truth here. We're stuck in this cloud. The cloud at a bearish Kumo twist, and we're holding that 200 EMA. And we bounced off it really nicely with a hammer candle, which is good because it had the bottom of the cloud, the monthly open, as well as the 200 EMA as support. And now we're kind of running into resistance right here, that 91.5 level that had that SR, which you can clearly see. I've kind of documented that pretty clearly. So we would really need to see something like this. So we finally had a higher low, right? We had low and then a higher low. Now we need to make a higher high. And so basically we need to get above basically 95,000. We need to close above that on the daily for us to start thinking, okay, things are looking a little bit better. They're not great though. We still need to get above the cloud. We still need the Chiku span to get bullish, but things are starting to look like that possibly could happen. Now, I would warn you that this crypto summit could be a great thing for crypto in the long term, but short term, this could be another sell the news event, causing people to get even more emotional, causing people to sell at a loss, causing people to make bad decisions and make mistakes. So be really cognizant of that. And in this time where the markets had very much manipulation, you can see even in just the last 10 days, be careful. And it may not be complete manipulation, but when things dump off, it manipulates certain types of people that don't have money to lose to sell at a loss because they're scared to lose more. So understand that side. So Bitcoin, not in a horrible space, not in a great space, but when we're inside the cloud, we're turbulent. We could go up, we could go down. So right now, it's one of those times where we have to kind of wait for confirmation, and I would be looking for us to get above the Kijun-sen, which would be above 95, 94.5. Now, what we can do is go to our secondary chart. So this is some of our secondary chart analysis. Now, what we can do is we can see on the lower time frames how are we starting to shape up. And what we're seeing is like our Chiku could run into the candles if we don't go higher. We don't have a bullish Kumo, it's bearish. We also we kind of don't have a real clear direction as to the TK cross. Yes, it crossed up, and yes, it's above the cloud, but it's kind of turbulent. So what we do is we go to the 8 hour now and check that out, and that as well is still pretty bearish. So we need to kind of see a little bit more movement, and that 95 level is really key because here it's 95, right? If we break above 95, the 8 hour starts to look really bullish. Obviously, the 4 hour starts to look quite hella bullish. And then we start to see that lower low, higher, and then higher high, right? If we can get up here, then we're gonna look really good. So that's what we're looking for on Bitcoin. CME gaps have closed both ways. We talked about that. So we had the huge CME gap right here. We closed that real quick. We came all the way up. We filled up the other gap. We basically filled the other gap without even we're just on open, and then we filled the gap below, looking like a nice V-shaped recovery if we can get a little bit higher. So things don't look bad, but they also aren't perfect yet. And so this is the time where if you want to dabble, if you want to take a risk, you could. I'm going to trust in my trading bots, honestly, because if I'm not certain what's going to happen, I'm not going to make decisions because the charts aren't set up for TA. And, I'm not going to just YOLO it like a lot of people do. A calculated decision obviously have positions already anyways. I want to show you guys something off the charts. This is something about a theory about why Donald Trump wants the market to crash, and it makes a lot of sense. So I'm just going to go over this with you. That they have $7 trillion of debt in the U.S. They have to pay it back in 6 months, and then or they have to refinance it. But financing the debt is extremely expensive because right now they'd have to refinance at 4%, which is a quite high rate on $7 trillion. So there's a theory that Trump wants people to be scared, to dump the stock market, to dump the crypto market, to cause people to flee into bonds from stocks. And so there's a safe place for them to put their money because they don't know if the stock market's going to crash right now. And it does look kind of shaky like I showed you in the last video. I'll show you again really quickly. So we look at that, and this massive uncertainty causes people to fly into bonds. And what it does, it makes the refinancing rate much lower. So people are trying to get out of the market. And then if tariffs come in and, you know, there's all this threatening, we're going to do these tariffs, and like they added the tariffs now, and now there's talk about them potentially rolling the tariffs back on Canada and Mexico. This is a power play. This is art of war. This is smart business of using your leverage, and you know, it makes a lot of sense that they would do this so that they could refinance at a lower rate, which is much better because they can not have to pay as much interest. And so this could be a short-term pain like Trump talked about and Elon talked about for a long-term gain. Okay, so Colin Talks Crypto. He's talking about in this post about how money supply globally increases, and we've had a sharp increase, as you can see on the chart, that it will rally stocks, Bitcoin, crypto, and it'll be epic. And the 25th is the approximated date that he's thinking that will happen. Now, Trump introduces these tariffs, right? And the tariffs make everything really expensive for people to import into America, so it basically makes more sense to buy stuff in America, similar to what I showed you yesterday with Canada, taking US stuff off the shelves and selling Canadian stuff in Canada, right? Now, what he's doing with the tariffs is using it as a power play. And how the power play works, I give these big tariffs to these countries that don't want to pay, like don't want to have to deal with them because it's going to hurt the trade war. And what he's going to do is renegotiate all the tariffs that they have between each other, right? And what it does is they're going to try and find some symbiosis because right now it's really unfavorable to America, which is what Trump has been talking about. So basically using this power play to make things better for America, but not kill the trade in the longer term. In the short term, cause uncertainty, cause people to fly to bonds, cause Powell to be forced to do quantitative easing, cause more money to come into the money supply, and bingo, bango, bongo, we are now back into a bullish market. Does that mean we can have a short-term bear market? Yeah, definitely. But I think personally that we're going to have a rally at this point, and then so does Colin. We're going to have this rally, and then eventually we'll have this point where, you know, we get this top again like normal cycles. Now, it's been a different cycle, so we don't know if that will happen, but this is kind of how I'm taking all this in. Now, I've been doing this with CZ and other people. CZ got me out. He didn't personally get me out, but I watched his tweet about FTX, and I got out because of that tweet where he said they're going to sell. Things are sometimes said without being said. Eric Trump basically talks about how the strategic reserve was done on a Sunday and everyone gets to win and blah, 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 blah. That's great. That was great, to be honest. But the thing is, smart money comes in on Monday and dumps it so that everyone sells at a loss or sells at a very small gain. And then they pump it back up and make them cry. What you need to understand is he gives signals. He said buy the dips when we went down to 79, right? He was kind of giving you that insider information without saying it. I think it's really important for all of us to understand, to follow the right people in the US economy and government and in crypto, because they give you cues without actually giving you the answer yourself. You have to kind of put that together. Eric Trump is someone you keep your mind because he kind of gives you like these little cues of like what's going to happen. It may not happen right away, but it'll happen at some point. And I've been watching him for that reason alone. Back to charts. Where's Bitcoin dominance? Pretty much at like this really high level. When we see that break down at one point, it may go back up to 63% if we get a really nice push on BTC. And then I could see it. Now I'm looking at ETH again after yesterday. Same type of stuff. Lower lows, like I talked about lower highs. This is a lower low right here. This is a lower low right here. This is a lower high, right? So we're getting lower highs. We need to ETH to break above 2,800 for us to get into that bullish territory. We want to see it ETH in again. So that's something to keep your eyes on for ETH if you're an ETH maxi. Some good stuff we're seeing happen is the dollar becomes weaker. When the dollar weakens, generally markets do better. And as we saw the dollar weaken yesterday, what happened is we had a little bit of a bounce on the S&P, we had a little bit of bounce on the NASDAQ, and we had a little bit of a bounce on the Dow. That doesn't mean they're in good shape by any means. But one thing I wanted to also show you was, how has the bond market been doing? Whoa. Ever since Trump talked about these tariffs, right, we can go back to the 13th or 12th of February, the bond market exploded by, at the top, 7%. And now it's sitting at about 5.5%. This is why all of this kind of comes together with what I've been saying. Gives you good perspective on where we're going. And remember, I showed you all these charts the other day. 1 or 2 projects to keep your eye out for, okay? One specifically I'm super bullish. Imagine an exchange where you can do everything you do on a CEX, but it's not on a CEX, and it's completely custodial, and it has instant settlement, and it's regulated in France, which is one of the hardest licenses to get, and it's run by a bunch of guys that were Fortune 500 C-level employees. There's a project that's been around for 3 years, Devi. They focus a lot on carbon credits, other stuff, but the main thing is this exchange is going to be revolutionary for how crypto is, and will basically make it so we don't really need that many CEXs anymore, or any CEXs, to be honest, unless you're some like regulated fund, and even those guys will be using this instead. Right? So I'm not saying it's a CX killer, but I definitely think that it's one of those undervalued projects. It's got like the perfect cup and handle right here too. I mean, like if you're not looking at this right now and seeing the opportunity, I don't know what you're doing. Because like, look at this cup, beautiful. And then we get the handle right here. This thing could break up. If we get the bullish market that we deserve, this thing is going probably to $7 or $8. And honestly, if we compare it to other big exchanges, if it can do even half of that, this thing's going to $10 for sure. Like, no doubt in my mind. Maybe it'll take a few years, but it's one of those ones that's definitely been something that I have accumulated as it went down, and now I'm just waiting because I think it's a great project. Now, if we want to look at other projects, Rune is still around and available and not dead. Obviously, it's had its hardships, but I would keep my eye on Rune because it got sold so hard because of the whole drama they had that it's very likely, and you can see the volumes here. It's not like the volume dropped off. It's actually increasing now. It does look like it's a good chance that, you know, maybe it'll take a year, maybe it'll take 6 months, but they have money that comes in. They will be able to support the token in the long term. I think that a risk reward, it's definitely a risk, but the reward can be very big on Rune. Easily, even if we have a huge relief rally on it, we'll go to $3 again, which is still, you know, 1.5x or something like that. So that's not terrible. Okay, so I can look at all these other charts like we did the other day. I'm not going to do that today. What I want you to do is actually tell me which charts do you want to see. So comment on X on YouTube. Say, Coach, I really would like for you to do a full analysis on this token. My team is going to be looking at those things and then reporting back to me and letting me know which tokens you guys want. All right, so let's check our bots. Our Blowfin bot is still up 6.31%. Doesn't trade a lot, but it trades well when it trades, averaging about that per month. That's great. I think anyone will be happy with 6% a month. So that's there. It's doing great, but it's not really done much. Looking at our unified trading account for our USDT coach bot, that is right now, yesterday we were at just under 99, under 100,000. Today we're at 100,075. Basically, it's going back and forth because it's currently in trades for Dodge, XRP, and SOL. And that goes in and out of trades every single day. So that's how we know that is we can go onto the performance on the spot here and we can just check and see the trades that it's been doing, the volume it's been doing, etc. As well as P&L. So generated day on day, how much has it earned? You can see all of this 100% transparently. And then what I'm gonna do is show you the Coach K BTC bot. So that one's obviously the P&L's gone up because Bitcoin has gone up. But what I do wanna show you is actually the trading performance because that's what matters more. And so we made $125 on BTC. We made $80 yesterday and today we are up 44. You can see all the trades. It's been 10 trades, 0 losses, and we can even show you that here on the inverse perps, all the different trades that have closed. So this is very transparent. We're doing okay. Things are going up about 0.1% a day at this point, which is pretty much on par with the 2.5% that it's been doing year on year for 3 years on the BTC bot, and for 14 months, it's been doing a little bit better than 3.5% per month on the USDT side. So it's really awesome. So if there's anything you want to learn about the bots, let me know in the comments below. If you want to follow and track the performance of the bots and everything, I do post on Instagram, on X, and on YouTube. So make sure you're following, hitting the bell, and subscribing so you can join the journey too. I'm going to be sharing this every single day, as well as all the trading and analysis. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to follow, get all the updates, and I'll see you guys soon.